Here we go. Boston has entered the chat. The Celtics have done it again. And this time, we didn't even have to sweat.
And it wasn't a game 2.
Right.
That stank wasn't going to happen this round against this awful Pacers team.
Well, let's get into it, shall we? Travis Thomas here, George Balekji. Boston has entered the chat. And, of course, since we're all here, all of us, let's all get involved. 617-790-0928. That's our hotline. Please call us. Leave your messages. We want to hear from you. Also, tweet us all show long. We get to them. You know that. If you've been watching, Boston has entered the chat. If you haven't, welcome. We are a kind, loving community here. So please send us tweets, call us, email us. How about that? The chat at Nesson.com. We get to your emails as well. We'll have one of those in this fine program. And, of course, we're breaking down Game 2 of the Celtics blowout win, and we're looking ahead to the NBA Finals. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I getting ahead of myself? Game 3 against the Pacers. Translation, NBA Finals.
I mean, let's be real.
3
minutes left in this game. We were talking finals, and we were going with the Mavs matchup, Timberwolves matchup. How are they going to fare against size? You said it. Now, last show you said Porzingis can be back Game 4, get him back, get him run.
Sure.
And then we were talking about don't even waste down this series. We know. Dude, it's not even close.
No.
The levels these two teams are. And we saw that in Game 1, but the Pacers have the firepower to keep any 20-point lead to disappear, right, and keep games interesting.
Yeah.
But the Celtics, what we saw today with their dynamic scores, how intense they were on defense. And it got close at times, late on a Siakam 3. That point on, off and running.
Yeah.
And even on a really bad Tatum night. We'll get to it all. On a really bad Tatum night, Celtics dominated. They're not firing on all cylinders. They don't have to against this team.
Plus, today is National Brothers Day, so we'll talk about our best brother combinations in all of sports as well.
My bad, I cut you off on your rundown.
Didn't cut me off.
That's what brothers do.
We're just brothers from another mother. That's all that is. And we'll finish out with our winners and losers of the week. But let me start with get this off my chest, because I was thinking about this for the Celtics before we came in here, and I was thinking, you know what? This team, in a lot of ways, is damned if they do, damned if they don't. What I mean is, if they lose a close game, loud mouths like us say, well, they're terrible late game. They're not clutch. What's their problem? I know I'm always pointing blame at Joe Mazzulla and Jason Tatum down the stretch of a game. If they get beat by an inferior team, which we've seen a couple of times in these playoffs, we certainly saw it in the regular season against bad teams, then we call them everything in the book. Fugazi, this team will never win anything. When they smoke people like we saw in Game 2, what do we all say? It's about damn time. Why don't you do this more often? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Meanwhile, look, the reality is this. With the path, the way it's set up, with injuries, out west, the champs are out now, so there could be a new champion, so there's inexperience out west. It just feels like this team's on the precipice of winning a title, and all we're doing is complaining at every step of the way. Boston, let's try at some point during this potential championship run to enjoy it. And with that, let's break down Game 2, because at least there was something to enjoy last night with that.
And you're right. Game 1 wasn't enjoyable at all. Game 2 was.
Yeah. Game 1 was exhilarating, but Game 2
not enjoyable win for the Celtics.
No.
Because of how that shouldn't have been a win. Game 2 come out with the response. And I have to credit the Pacers, A, for bringing that fight again and keeping this game late. But I credit what the Celtics do, where they stayed ready, knew another punch was coming from the Pacers, but instead of we got their best shot, we got their best chance, Game 1 was the one for them to steal, we escaped, we're good, we're the more talented team, this team can't defend, forget them, and go on from that point on. The Celtics were intense from the jump.
Yes.
Scores weren't there, but Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown, especially JB in the first half. What do you have, 23 points? 24. Drew had 10 points, 7 assists.
That boy was cooking.
Those guys kept him there before Tatum finally woke up again in the second half and then filled out the rest. But they came out start to finish. And I mentioned it, that Siakam 3 made it 68-66. And like that was the final close part of this game. Yeah. Tatum dunk makes it 72-66. Derek White 3. Right. Tatum step back. Brown 3. Brissett dunk. O'Shea Brissett playing some clutch minutes.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard 3, 87-73. That was with Jason and Jaylen playing selfless. Gets tight, Siakam big 3, playing well. Celtics respond with a 19-7 run, but it was all different angles where they can attack.
Yeah.
That's what makes this team dangerous.
Yeah. Well, even going back to like what I was saying, let me get this off my chest, right? Like, let's try to enjoy this potential championship run we're watching. Even on a night like last night and you mentioned Jaylen Brown tying a playoff career high with the 40-burger, I mean, now a lot of the conversation is, well, who is the true star of this team? And it's just like I think it's a fair combo to have big picture, but I don't necessarily feel as though it's an appropriate conversation to have right now. Here's what I mean. We all are used to a certain level of protocol when it comes to championship teams. We all have seen it. It's a star player who's usually domineering, who's usually the alpha, carrying a team on his back. And then on a championship run, a lot of times, your star is your star, but someone or two steps up to the moment and helps out said star. That's pretty much the cookie-cutter blueprint we've seen for championships all across the NBA forever. This team really embodies team. I mean, I hate to sound so corny and cliche, but that's what it feels like. Is like this team is, and you use the word that's true, selfless. And even though Jaylen Brown played like a man possessed, and a lot of people suggested because he didn't make All NBA, he was ticked off. Maybe that's true. But Jaylen Brown is the first one to give credit to his team. Jason Tatum, after a monster game, is the first one to give credit to his team. It just feels like, and this is why Joe Mazzulla gets on my damn nerves, but I have to give him credit. He keeps his team together. These guys, on National Brothers Day, they are brothers. They love each other. This team loves each other. And they sacrifice for one another. They play. You look up the definition of team in the dictionary. That is this current Celtics team. But in a way, that's what drives us nuts because we want somebody taking the Bulls by the horn, and we think it should be Jason Tatum when in reality, it's been Jaylen Brown consistently now. But again, I just don't think that's how they're going to win. That's not their personality. I believe they are going to get a title here. And now we can have the conversation.
Here as in this year.
Yeah. Now we can have the conversation of whose team is it and all that after that. But they don't give a damn. It's just like we're going to win in our way. And I don't know if that's sustainable. But that's another topic for another day, in my opinion. I just think this team's makeup, their mental makeup, their personality is what we're seeing.
It's sustainable for one ring.
Right.
And then it comes in. Because if it's Jaylen Brown playing better than Jason Tatum.
Right.
As we saw tonight and the last two games, really. JB bailing out JT in the first game with that 3 he hit to send it to overtime. Even on a day like first game for Jaylen Brown after he got snubbed of being All NBA. Because you look at the teams. First team, SGA, Doncic, Jason Tatum, Giannis, Jokic. Second team, Brunson, Ant, KD, Kawhi, AD. Third team, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Tyrese Halliburton, LeBron, and Sabonis. Kawhi was in and out of lineups all year.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been on that.
Kevin Durant and that team was never flowing. He has a talent, but that was a bad Suns team that just made it out of the play-in. And then don't even get me started on Tyrese Halliburton. Great first half to the season. Awful second half while JB put it all together. But like that stuff matters to him. And it can work for one title run as it can with this team. But if they win it and Jaylen Brown continues this type of run that he's on, averaging 26 points per game since the Cavaliers series.
That's right.
Right?
He was consistent against Miami.
And dropping forward, very consistent against Miami. They're most, what is this now? 4 of his last 5 games, he's been the Celtics' best player.
Yep.
But then you had Tatum, who averaged 29 points per game to close out the Cavs. Great.
Right.
But now it's been duds this series. They win a ring. One of those two guys are going to be the finals MVP. And one of those two guys are going to play better. And it's going to matter to them, to egos. Because we see a Jaylen Brown who has that edge to him. He got paid. He got all pro. Got paid like the best player in the league. Still not seen as the best player on his team. And that definitely eats away at him.
Yeah.
But Jason Tatum, is the best player. He's so skilled, right? Not as athletic as Jaylen Brown, but so skilled. To me, but there's part of it where you have to respect the mental aspect.
Right.
And Jaylen Brown, go back to the 2022 finals, was their best player, averaging
Warriors.
23 and a half a game. Yeah. Only guy that showed up consistently throughout those
attacking
against Golden State. There is a mental makeup when the stage gets big, and that's what makes the greats the greats. Mm-hmm. You could be talented as hell. If you don't show up when your team needs you in a game 6, in a game 7, in the finals, pushing it, what their matchup will be, tough against Dallas or tough against Minnesota, that's what makes a difference here.
You know what's interesting is I was taking notes when you were talking about the All-NBA team. I disagree with you on Kevin Durant. I thought his numbers were still good enough to make it, but I completely agree with you on Kawhi. And I jotted down these names. Obviously, Jaylen Brown should have had considerations. Tyrese Maxey should have had considerations. Wemby, even though he's a rook, should have had considerations. If you drop Kawhi and take any of those 3 on the All-NBA team, I'd be fine. But going back to your Jaylen Brown point, right? It's not just the scoring, potentially, if we get to the finals where he can affect the game and still be as dominant. Maybe in the finals you need Tatum. Well, obviously you're going to need an uptick from scoring from Tatum and to be more consistent. That's obvious. But I actually think Jaylen Brown could prove his value and worth even more so on the defensive end in the finals, because you think about either matchup, you're dealing with monsters here. You're dealing with the boogeyman on either team, Anthony Edwards or Luka. I like Jaylen Brown as a defensive.
And Kyrie.
Well, he's not going to guard Kyrie. He might help, but that's going to be Drew Holiday's nightmare. But
they'll hump for switches. But yeah.
But you know, Jaylen Brown in general is going to be. I guess my point being, he's going to be on their best player. In the finals, regardless of who's there. And so, yeah, sure. Like, can he score 40 every night? That'd be fantastic. But I almost need in a finals. I almost need more from him defensively, and that's why Tatum's so valuable, which brings me back to the point I said. This team is a team, and it's just not what we're used to seeing. But I do think, like, if they win a title this year, in the finals specifically, you're going to have Porzingis back. You're going to need Tatum to be consistent offensively. Not saying Brown needs to disappear offensively, but you're going to need more out of him on the defensive end.
And if he gives his all on the defense, someone has to pick him up on offense.
That's my point. He
can't go out and drop 40.
That's my point.
These smaller guards, and keep in mind, Tyrese Halliburton left with a hamstring, non-contact, tweaked it. Makes it a lot easier facing this Pacers team when they lose Halliburton.
That's right.
No matter how bad his shot selection can be. But yeah, if he's tasked with the assignment of guarding a very strong, very crafty Luka Doncic, who's very smart.
Right.
Yeah, someone's going to have to help him out offensive end. It'll be a lot harder to have 40 on the other end, and that has to be the Jason Tatum.
That's what I'm saying.
And it is, as you bring up, even think about the last 5 finals. Jokic, Steph, Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi. Clear-cut best player on those championship teams last 5 years.
Right.
With this team, it is. Like, who is it? And that's how they're built, because they're so talented.
Yeah.
Because even speaking about it, with Ante in the newsroom, when we said in this series, the Celtics clearly have the 3 best players. I go, yeah, Tatum, Brown, Drew. He goes, Tatum, Brown, Derek White. I go, touche. With no Porzingis, don't hate that.
Yeah.
Maybe they got the 4 best. And if they had Porzingis, they'd have the 5
Drew's
best, right?
Drew's been balling this series,
exactly. So that shows the depth of this team, too.
Yeah.
And they can play selfless. So, yeah, that is a cliche of, like, they are a team. But, like, this is a team of studs, and it's how Brad Stevens constructed it. And meanwhile, every evaluation we're giving of the Celtics right now, keep in mind, it's no Kristaps Porzingis, who could come back game 4.
Why?
Don't rush him back.
Right.
You can get him out on that practice court, go to your players, hey, let's give him game looks.
Push him. Yeah.
Push him, but you know when to stop Porzingis.
Right.
Don't even risk in a game scenario, but ramp him back up to get ready for a game.
You damn sure are going to. Oh, I mean, we all knew this when he went down. You got to have him to win a title, so you need him for the finals. It is clear to me now.
Yeah.
You don't need him for the space.
You see Joe Mazzulla's quote, because everyone is making something of it, and I agree, of Jaylen Brown getting snubbed from being All-Pro. Derek White was asked. He goes, 100% got snubbed, big-time snub, I don't get it, from Derek White. Joe Mazzulla, I think he cares about it in a way that motivates him, and I don't think he cares about it at all, because winning is the most important thing, but those things still motivate him, so he cares.
Wait,
Joe.
Read that again?
Let me get it. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Are you kidding me? Did he not talk in circles? He said,
I think he cares about it in a way that motivates him, and I don't think he cares about it at all because winning is the most important thing. He cares about the right stuff. I think stuff like that does motivate him.
Joe, what are you saying, bro?
I don't think he cares about it at all because winning's the most important thing. Stuff like that does motivate him. He cares. He doesn't care, but it's motivation.
No, I don't remember putting my feet on Charlie Murphy's couch. Yeah, I put my feet on Charlie Murphy's couch. Like, what are you doing, Joe Mazzulla? You know what? I'm sick of it, Joe. If they don't win a title this year, Joe Mazzulla, you have never seen the wrath like what I'm going to bring on Boston has entered the chat if they don't win it
Cassell's
this year.
on that bench.
Yeah, he is.
Van Gundy's a senior consultant. I don't know.
Preach. All right,
Brad
let's
Stevens.
get to the fan tweets. We tell you to call us 617-790-0928, and we tell you to email us as well. Please send us your tweets as well. So let's get to some here. I'm sure it's going to be all about Jaylen Brown on a night like last night, of course. And of course it is. Jaylen Brown getting snubbed out of an NBA.
And I took that personally.
NBA spot, and I took it personally. He damn sure did, didn't he?
It was actual real adversity and something really to get pissed off about. We know MJ just made stuff up.
Yeah, Boston diehards, I love you. Like whoever you are, you have the best tweets.
Remember, he doesn't care, but it does motivate him.
Right. What is Joe Mazzulla doing? All right, what we got next? The real leader has emerged.
It's follow me with my actions, and he'll be loud, and JB will say the right things. Remember, he's older, man. Like he came into the league,
was here first.
Was booed when he got drafted. Had to work his way and grow into his role from a 3-and-D guy to being a top 3 player, a top 2 player, now a 1A, 1B. Remember that real leader has emerged. He's had to go through more and had to earn it. Or JT comes in out of Duke and just crowned.
How about that handle, Mass Hole Sports Fan? There you go.
Yeah, it's Boston.
There it is. AZ says Jaylen Brown carrying Tatum every game in the playoffs.
Jaylen Brown had a dud in Game 5 against Cavaliers.
Yeah, I also, listen.
Look, they're walking to this finals, man.
I feel as though it's not just Jaylen Brown, right? Like we just talked about it. It's Derek White. It's Drew Holiday. Guys have stepped up. And Jason Tatum has stepped up as well, to be fair. I just think he just doesn't give us the moments like we want. When you don't win the moments in this town, you're going to hear about it. But I don't know. Here we go. Hater report. Says Jason Tatum getting carried. Okay, so now he kind of agrees with me. Derek White, Jaylen Brown. At least Derek White's getting some love here.
Strong
He can't keep getting away
report.
with this. How about this? I remember that. That was your boy Jack Harlow at the Kentucky Derby. Not wanting
My
to
boy.
get yeah, that's your man.
My
Not
boy.
wanting to get any mud
Easy.
on his shoes.
What's poppin' was great. From that point on, he lost me. Derek White, 23 points, 4 for 8 from 3, 8 for 15 from the floor. Jaylen Brown, 40 points, 5 rebounds, 14 for 27. Jason Tatum, 23 points, 9 for 20 from the floor. It was atrocious until midway through the third.
You don't like that? I don't like no whips and chain, but you can't tie me down. You don't like that one?
No. Just what's poppin', that's it.
Not a Harlow
It's a good
guy.
beat. No. Fella. Even Drew Holiday, 6 for 7 from the floor.
Yeah.
15 points, 10 assists.
He's
And that's a guy we've been
balling.
calling on since the first round
Balling.
to do more.
You know,
Championship winner was the number 2, on that Bucks championship team.
biggest X factor in the finals. Yes, I'm moving on past the Pacers. Drew Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis?
Kristaps Porzingis does so much as a rim protector. And like how Dallas chooses to attack him, or Minnesota, if their bigs can draw him out of the paint, that's big for around the rim. But it's given Drew will be on either Anthony Edwards
Right.
or Kyrie Irving. So it's tough to see them beating those teams without Porzingis. Just don't forget how he changes the entire complexity of this offense. This was a top 3 team in NBA regular season history with Kristaps Porzingis.
I just think, listen, man, championship stage, we've seen Drew Holiday there and win it. I just think that's valuable. I don't know. I almost feel like he might be the X factor. For all the latest on the Celtics, check out Hold My Banner, full episode on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts. And also, make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts for all of our best content. It's National Brothers Day. And George, since you and I are broheims, I figured we'd have some famous brother duos here. You see Peyton and Eli Manning. You see the Watt boys. You see the Markeith and Morris twins. And then, well, we should have just had Giannis. But technically, I guess
there are brothers in the NBA.
Does have brothers.
Only one of them's achieving anything. Thanasis has a ring, though.
Because of Giannis.
The Watts are a low-key great brothers in sports.
Yeah.
Both defensive player of the years.
Yeah.
Both the best at their position when they're at their peak powers in the league.
Preach.
Too. I don't hate that, actually.
There is a third Watt.
National Brother Day. I'm happy to be here with you on National Brother Day. My brother.
I mean, brothers from another mother. Now, what I want to do is give our top 3 sports brothers. And you mentioned the Watts. I'll start there. I mean, I do understand there is another Watt brother out there, but I'm just talking about the 2 that we want to talk about.
Two of the 3 do the heavy lifting.
TJ and JJ. I mean, what more do you need to say? Those dudes they are ridiculous. In fact, I almost feel as though you can give me a little bit of insight here because they just build them different out there in Wisconsin. My best friend, who's from Maryland, but his wife is from Wisconsin, so they moved to Milwaukee. They've been married like 10 years. And I go and visit him every other year. We alternate. He comes to see me. I come to see him, right? And out there, George, I know you worked there for a time, so I need some insight here. But, I mean, these dudes, I don't know if it's the dairy or what, but I look at, like, high school athletes and college athletes. I mean, these guys are mammoth dudes. It's not a coinky-dink that Wisconsin always has great defensive linemen and offensive linemen. What is going on in Wisconsin? Because these Watt boys are built like cyborgs.
What is it? It's corn-fed boys?
I don't know. I'm
it's
asking
cheese
you.
Curds, Culvers, plenty of fresh dairy.
Man.
The Watts are like a whole different story, though. Like, those guys are elite athletes. But I'd say it. I don't want to bag Wisconsin.
What?
But when I was there, you'd watch high school football, and you'd see the guys in the trenches. And you'd watch some hoop, you'd be like, yeah, but the elite athletes, like, it's not, Wisconsin doesn't jump off the board.
No.
The Watts are the exception to me. It'd be like exceptional of the exceptional.
Right.
Compared to, you'd get guys out of, like, L.A.
Right.
Oklahoma, especially the Tulsa area football-wise, Jersey.
Sure.
New York, Florida.
Cali.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my one thing. Texas,
right.
Ohio even.
Right.
Football. Seriously.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And hoops too. So... But I would give it. The Watts are a whole.
The Watts are a different animal.
That is Wisconsin royalty, especially JJ.
Of course. Okay, and then obviously the Kelseys. I mean, come on.
Good one.
We're talking about the Kelseys here. They are running the world now between Taylor Swift and podcast and broadcasting and Super Bowls. They got it all cooking right now. So you got to have the Kelseys. And then I'm going to throw you a little curveball here.
Mm-hmm.
How about the Harbaughs, huh? I mean, we already saw a Harb Bowl in the Super Bowl. We may see a Harb Bowl in an AFC title game before long from now. Who knows? But, Jim, to be able to win on every level he's gone to, hasn't had a Super Bowl yet. I think it will come eventually with the Chargers. But we see him win on every level, college, pro. And then John, who I actually covered in Baltimore. I mean, these guys got it going on. So I'm going to go the Harbaugh boys as well.
I think that's a great one, rounding out with the Harbaughs.
Yeah.
It's like low-key we're going more coaching than athletes there with the Harbaughs. But it's a great call.
Well, it's sports
and they did play.
brothers.
No.
It's
I agree.
Brothers.
Because I went athletes all the way, so I like that coaching connect. I went Peyton and Eli.
Of course.
4 Super Bowls combined. And, Eli wasn't great, but, man, he was clutch. Mm-hmm. Patriots fans know plenty of it. And then Peyton's one of the best to ever do it. Mm-hmm. Not as good as Tom Brady, but one of the best. Then I went a little hockey. How about Rocket Richard and Henry Richard?
Oh.
Maurice Richard, first ever to 500 goals. First ever score 50 goals in a season. 8 Stanley Cups he won, and the Rocket Richard Trophy is named after him. Then Henry, 11 Stanley Cups, over 1,200 games with the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Most Stanley Cups by any individual. Then finally I went Rondé and Tiki Barber. Kind of afterthought, but Rondé.
He's great.
The first nickel corner to be elite at the position. Only guy in NFL history with 40-plus interceptions and 25-plus sacks in his career. 16 seasons, 232 starts, 3-time first-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champion. And then Tiki, Not the biggest is his position, but when he was with New York and he had that surprise early retirement, 31 years old, but 5 straight seasons of 1,200-plus yards from scrimmage. I mean, Tiki was a great running back for the Giants. Mm-hmm. Wasn't the most beloved guy off the field and everything, but he'd speak his mind and say what he wants, and I respect him for that. So those are my top 3. I like your top 3.
I like that. Now, listen, so I'm an only child. I believe you only have a sister. Is that right?
2 older sisters.
2 older sisters. So you don't have a brother. I don't have a brother. If you had to pick one athlete to be your sibling, who would it be? All time, anytime you want. I asked you this because I already have it in my head. So while you marinate, I'm going to tell you mine. I always was a big fan of Kevin Garnett. And I feel as though I would elect...
You 2 psychos.
Yes,
no.
Exactly. This is why I would elect Kevin Garnett as he would be my older brother, too. Because I'd be like, you know what? Everyone thinks my older brother's already crazy. How many times in school all of us has dealt with this? Oh, don't talk to such and such. You know their older brother's crazy. So I'm already nuts. So if Kevin Garnett was my older brother, oh, you got double trouble now. You got my older brother who will get in your face, and he's a giant, and he'll dunk in your face. And then you got me, the psycho. Oh, my God. Can you imagine the trouble that me and Kevin Garnett could into if we were brothers? I would love it.
All right, that's a great question. I've never thought about this before. Never looked at athlete.
This is why we get
brother.
paid the minuscule bucks.
No, I wanted to say.
Just say it.
This is interesting. I'm going for a good time and someone that would look out for me. I'd go Pat McAfee.
Oh.
You can't tell me visiting him at West Virginia when he's my older brother would it be the best time. And you look at how he takes care of his guys on his show. Like if he gets the bag, they get the bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm playing a little nepotism here to get successful, but he's someone that's always looking out for, like, does well in a business venture, helps out his family along the way. So I'm thinking monetarily only here.
This also speaks to your love for broadcasting. Right?
Yeah,
like you love, like, bro, I know you. I don't mind putting your business out in the street because we tight like that. Like George lives for this stuff. He does. Not that I don't, but there are levels to this, and I ain't on his level.
Appreciate
I mean,
it.
my brother is constantly, he's a student of the game. He watches tape. He's prepping. He lives this stuff. You know, I'm just a psycho. And so that's why I went Kevin
KG's a
Garnett.
perfect fit for you.
Exactly. Like,
if I wasn't going to go, and by the way, thank you. As someone that I also watch your stuff. This isn't randomly giving flowers.
It's true.
I watch your stuff because I watch how you host, how you drive a conversation. It's stuff I look up to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as someone, you and me have been boys since day one. It's at Jersey-Baltimore Connect.
For sure.
But you're taking me under my wing, being a mentor without even knowing it, so I love you for it. If it wasn't McAfee, and this is what I was going to go, and I'll stick with this. This is Short Kings sticking with each other. Again, a good time, Julian Edelman.
Oh, you two would be trouble. You said out me and Garnett would be trouble. Y'all two
Imagine
would be
me and Edelman like going out in Southie.
Yeah, that's
we'd
scary.
be fighting. He'd give me so many black eyes.
That is
kick
so
my
scary.
ass, but he'd make me tougher. And then that's a iron sharpen iron. That little mighty squirrel like grinding the way he does to get ready. I would get in shape. And shoot, man, maybe I'd make it at Kent State, make it to the NFL. No, there's a lot more that has to go right that way.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, we've been telling you.
That's a great question.
That's great, right?
Tweet at us. Who would you want your sport brother to be?
Tweet us.
Any athlete.
Tweet us. Hotline us. Do the whole 9.
I got Pat McAfee and Julian Edelman. He has Kevin Garnett. That's a perfect match for you.
Also, you can email us. This is George's baby. I'll let him tell you about it. But email us. Tell them how they can email us.
The chat at Nesson.com. Any sports questions, any life questions, anything you want. Put your name on it. If you want to get the shout out on the show, of course, we love to spread the love. If you want to put no name, that's fine. Just send in the email and we'll give the advice out there. But that's the chat at Nesson.com.
Now, we did get one from my man Roy. He put his name on it. He stamped it. He wants to know from us, how many years are you giving Coach Mayo and Drake May until you say it's a success or a failure? That's a fantastic question, Roy. Thank you.
It's my boy Roy, knows ball, born and raised in Boston. He'll tell you, probably outside of his wonderful parents, Tom Brady, and his wonderful siblings, Tom Brady's the only person that's given him more joy in the world.
So in this question, he would say Tom Brady, he would want to be his
probably.
brother. Yeah.
Probably. So my timeline as it's been, and this is with Drake May sitting year one.
Yep.
Starting, let's say,
sitting year one?
Starting 6 games at the end of the year at most.
Okay, all right.
This is going to be a 5 to 7 win team this year.
Okay.
Next year, you mess around, you win 9 to 11 games, you flirt with the playoffs.
Okay.
Year 3, I need 12 wins, you to be a contender of your division and to be a true contender of the AFC. That's a timeline I'm giving them to be a success. Now, if year 3, and it's not black and white, if they're on the cusp of achieving that, but they get to that by year 4 or 5, maxing out his rookie scale contract, and they get in, win a couple playoff games and are knocking on the door to win the AFC, but you run it back and you re-up and you give Drake May a second contract, that's a success too. And if he's doing it with Gerard Mayo all along. I'm more married on it has to be Drake May being the success. I don't care about the head coach in this picture. But to answer this question from Roy, I would say minimum, I need to see by year 3 playoff success. And if Drake May, you believe in him in that second contract and they're contenders in the AFC. So I go 3 to 5 years is how many years it'll take for them until it's a success.
I agree on the front end of your comment, so I'm going to stick with that, 3 years. And I wrote this down while you were talking, and you were painting a perfect picture. You know, the Bills are regressing right in front of our very eyes. The Dolphins likely –
they got to pay Tua.
We're projecting here, but they're likely going to be handcuffed by a Tua contract here shortly. So the roster's not going to be as good. And I don't think any of us in this chat think Tua is the second coming of anything. And then the Jets, I believe, are going to be in a complete rebuild here shortly. And even if you disagree and you think they're going to win with Aaron Rodgers is not aging in reverse here. So he's going to be gone. They got to figure it out. So 3 years feels like the perfect time for the Patriots to regain their natural order of being the top of this division.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm at 3 years. I ain't going no 5 because 5 years is too damn long. This is the NFL. You got to win now. So I'll go 3 years.
But you have to see by year 3,
yes,
you're winning games. You're contending at least to be in the playoffs.
Yes.
But if it's a true success, if Drake May pick number 3 overall is a true success, it's getting a ring. Yeah. And that has to be by year 5,
right.
You are the best team in your division, which could be a tough division, forecasting what it can be. But you have to be contending for the AFC. And if it takes year 9 to win a Super Bowl, the whole thing's a success. That draft pick at number 3 was worth it. Gerard Mayo, Drake May, boom, that was great.
Right.
But by year 3, if you're winning 10 to 12 games, you're winning playoff games, that's a success too. Think about the Houston Texans. 4 wins, 3 wins. Draft C.J. Stroud, had great drafts leading up, 10 wins, get into the playoffs.
Well, it's not just C.J. Stroud, brother. It's like what Roy is asking us. They also got DeMeco Ryans. They got the right head coach combination to go with C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
So in our case, could be Gerard Mayo and Drake May.
But now if C.J. Stroud comes out and regresses and only wins 7 games,
sure,
8, don't make the playoffs.
Still not a failure.
You need multiple years. It's a failure because of what, as the number 2 overall pick, if they don't win playoff games the next few years, that's a failure. And I
don't know.
But if C.J. Stroud gets that second contract, then he's a success. Drake May, same thing.
Right.
And I think C.J. Stroud will keep getting better.
Of course.
With that system, with him having Bobby Slowick as his offensive coordinator, how much can you keep this all together?
Yeah, it's a great comparison. I mean, also, credit to the Texans, and we'll see if the Patriots take a page out of this book. You would think they would. But they're building around their young stud quarterback. That's part of this too.
Even think about if the Bengals and Joe Burrow don't get back to a Super Bowl, it's a failure.
Yeah.
They got there. They were the runner-ups.
Right.
And think about what had to go right for the Bengals situation. You draft Joe Burrow. Sucks. He tore his ACL. You draft Jamar Chase because you're picking that high again because you were such a bad team. So you had a top 10 quarterback draft-wise. You had a top receiver draft-wise in Jamar Chase. 2 key pieces. Offensive line sucked. Then they addressed that. It's all about timing and contract.
Yeah, but you can't gloss over that offensive line either. Because if you're building around your stud quarterback,
but they're finally,
sure, give him weapons, but what difference does it make if he's getting hurt like Joe Burrow is? So
but
the Patriots have a lot of things to kind of consider as they rebuild here. The offense, at least.
Invested heavily going into last season, and then once again got Trent Brown, from the Patriots as their left tackle this season.
That's right. All right, let's get into our winners and losers of the week. Look, I'll lead us off gladly here. My winner of the week is Scottie Scheffler. I mean, how many times does this Louisville Police Department botch something? Don't even get me started because I'll go off. But they have a history of lying, getting things wrong and effing everything up. And here we go again. These guys lied and said Scottie Scheffler was dragging police and like it made it sound like he drove through some sort of barricade on a rampage, and it was further from the truth. The eye in the sky don't lie. In fact, we have footage, and it's not, body cam or dash cam footage, which is what the cops should have. I mean, this footage that has been provided is clear enough for you to see that these cops were lying, but it's also grainy, like you're trying to see the Yeti, like you're trying to see Bigfoot. Like, we don't have real footage from the cops because their body cams was off. Oh, what a coinky-dink. Where have we heard that from, again, with the Louisville Police Department? I don't want to hear it. Scottie Scheffler was resisting arrest and being a menace and a nuisance, my ass. The video shows you. He complied the whole time. They were treating this guy like he was a fugitive. Shame on you. That police department continues to get it wrong. Scottie Scheffler's my winner because everyone was confused as hell with the story, myself included, until the footage came out, and it's clear you Louisville idiots blew it again. Other than that, I'm feeling great.
I agree because what he get hit with? Second-degree assault of a police officer, third-degree criminal mischief,
BS.
Reckless driving, disregarding traffic signals. Scottie Scheffler, as it was, so there's a fatal car accident, heavy police presence right outside of the golf course. Understand those officers were doing what they were doing. But Scottie Scheffler pulls up, like, I have a tee time to make. Like, he didn't know even that someone died in the accident, but he sees a huge accident and goes, okay, whatever happens, bad. I have to go get to my tee time. I have to get to work. It's the same thing if you're commuting.
Yeah.
And officers told him, oh, you have a credential. Go ahead. You're good. They didn't communicate. And when all the reports came out, it just sounded so odd.
Right.
Because that second-degree assault of a police officer, what I thought was, did an officer come up to the window and then Scheffler start to drive away and run over his foot? I don't know. He hung on the car.
They said they dragged him. Wrong.
And also it is with Scottie Scheffler. If he actually assaulted a police officer, he would have never golfed that day. That's right. One thing I knew, right? Then you see that. The cop came up, looks like he Superman punched the car. And then Scottie stopped it and talked to him like, all right, what's happening?
Right.
And then they arrest him. The rest of it, and the reckless driving, he was told where to go. And he did what he did, and he stopped the car. Because, again, even I thought, was a cop hanging on the hood of a car? And it's like, if a cop's doing that, you stop. Scheffler did that. He did what someone would do. Shoot, if someone came up to me and punched my window, I wouldn't put my window down. I'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
I'd feel unsafe, right? Who knows what's happening with this guy? It's dark, it's rainy. Yeah, Scheffler wins. And as his attorney said, too, he's like, we're not settling this. We're the facts are the facts. He did nothing wrong. And credit to him, he didn't. He was told by a cop at a different point, drive up, you're good, you're a golfer, got it, keep going. And then this other one did that stuff. Nuts.
The cop has been disciplined, too.
He didn't have his body cam on, so that's the defense he has.
What a coinky dang. Where have we heard that before? Louisville police? Please. I'm sick of it. Who's your winner?
My winner, you'll like this one, Jason Tatum.
Oh.
And I'm saying this all aside what happened in Game 2. Because Jaylen Brown bailed him out in Game 1. If Jaylen Brown doesn't hit that really tough three, send it into overtime, where Tatum hits a three, gets an and one on. But am I right?
Nah, why are you making him your winner when you just said someone bailed him out?
He won because if they don't go into overtime, if they lose by 3, which it should have been regulation, Jason Tatum for the next 48 hours is dragged through the mud for that awful final 2 minutes he had.
Right.
Missed that wide open 3 after the Pacers defense misplayed the ball. Gets that rebound off the Derek White miss and wanted nothing to do with it.
Ran backwards.
Panicked, ran backwards, did an awful shot on the fadeaway, right?
Right.
With Tyrese Halliburton dribbling the ball off his knee, taking an awful 3 after a blocked Derek White 3 and after a missed Jason Tatum 3.
Yep.
Jason Tatum is a winner because Jaylen Brown is his teammate and bailed him out because it was terrible. Now, Jason Tatum had a great offensive rebound in overtime and found his shot, and credit to him. He persevered. He stayed with it, kept looking for a shot, hit big time shots to secure that win in Game 1. But man, he's a winner because Jaylen Brown's his teammate.
All right, for losers, I'm going Ryan Garcia here. I'm a big boxing fan. This guy is getting on my damn nerves. Look, in the fight against Devin Haney, I thought that night, I'm not going to lie to you, in that fight against Devin Haney, which was an upset. Haney was favored in that fight. Ryan Garcia was taking hellacious shots from Devin Haney and screaming at him like, "Ah!" And I was like, is this guy cracked out of his mind? Like, what's going on with this dude? He missed weight before the fight. I mean, it was, look, he won the fight. He dominated Devin Haney, but I thought the night I was watching, he's a bizarre dude. He has a bunch of bizarre stuff going on in his life leading up to this fight, and then fight night, he's getting hit, and he's screaming at this guy and taunting him. I'm like, I've never seen this. This guy's like a crack. Sure enough, comes out after the fight, he wins. His P test was dirty. PEDs. Interesting. Of course, I would never cheat. I didn't cheat. Give me a second test. Okay. He gets a second test. Dirty. Bruh. I mean, what are we doing here? You're a cheater, dog. And I knew watching that fight. I'm telling you, he would get hit with a shot and he'd be like, ah! Where'd they do that at? This dude's a cheater. He should be banned for life. He's off the rocker anyways. Get him out of here.
I mean, we've heard Canelo Alvarez come out and be critical of him. Because Ryan Garcia,
but he can't say anything. He's got a pass too with this stuff.
But I'm saying overall with Ryan Garcia, who could be the next great boxer, but he'd rather be a TikToker.
Yeah, he's a loser.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of him.
Loser of the week.
My loser of the week is David Fletcher. You know who that is?
Nope.
Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. He plays in the Braves AAA system. He was an infielder for the Dodgers when Shohei Ohtani was there. And as teammate-wise, was described as Shohei Ohtani's closest friend.
Uh-oh.
Guess what David Fletcher was doing?
Uh-oh.
Gambling with the same illegal bookmaker as Ippei Mizuhara, Shohei Ohtani's translator. And David Fletcher's name came up in the investigation and linked to that bookmaker. Now, David Fletcher got a nice contract from the Dodgers, played some games with them. He's just chilling in AAA ball with the Braves, doing whatever, played the other day in their game. He's just minding his own business, made some bets, never bet on baseball, but bet with an illegal bookmaker, which is illegal for Major League Baseball. Just minding his own business, thinking he escaped, and gosh, dang it, he got caught. I wasn't going to say his name in vain. He got caught. So just imagine you're just minding your own business. You see the Ippei Mizuhara stuff come up, you start sweating bullets. Like, I'm next. I'm next.
I mean, Shohei's worth $1 gazillion, million, 100,000 billion dollars. This kid ain't making no type of money like that.
Fletcher got a nice contract from the Dodgers. I think it was like $30 million he got from them.
Money.
But I'm just saying he's going to get screwed now. He's linked to this illegal bookmaker, and that's my point why he's a loser of the week.
Do you believe Shohei's... some of me still kind of feels like this guy was a fall guy a little bit. Like, I know that's a little sinister to me. I'm like, I'm not so sure Shohei was some angel in this.
If the levels to it are real, where Ippei Mizuhara was, when he set up his bank accounts, he set it up where only he knew the passwords. He was calling the banks, faking to be Shohei. But Shohei has the worst financial advisors in the world. There's so many layers to this. And it's just like, what if he didn't bet on baseball? Why do you care, MLB, right?
Right. That's where I was the whole time.
If he didn't bet on a diamond sport, which he didn't. It's with an illegal bookmaker, and I get it.
Yeah.
At worst, Shohei was betting through an illegal bookmaker. At best, he's a really good friend and paid off Ippei's debt.
Both could be true.
When you take in what he's making with the Dodgers now, $600 million, and his off the field stuff, he's a billionaire. He makes bank off the field, so he could have afforded it.
You know who doesn't make bank? Your boy David Fletcher, whose name I hope I never hear again.
Just minding his own business in the AAA system.
When you said, "Do you know who that is?" Nope, and I hope I never do.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, I guess I won't hear about him now because he's not going to get the opportunities.
I'll find it quick what he got on that contract.
Oh, God. It's nowhere near what Shohei got, so it doesn't even matter. I mean, no wonder he wanted a parlay partay. He was trying to make a little extra on the side. I ain't mad at the brother, but I'm also a degenerate, and I'm not a pro athlete. If I was a pro athlete, I wouldn't be anywhere near that stuff. I mean, these guys got to be more careful with this. David Fletcher. I hope I never hear you again. Well, while George is looking up this is
the quietest the podcast has ever been.
Fletcher's,
he's up deep in reading.
While he's looking up David Fletcher's minimum
5
wage.
years, $26 million.
Oh,
that's a nice payday, bro. That sets you up for life. 26 mil?
For all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Hey, we ain't making David Fletcher money, but we still cool, though. For Travis Thomas, George Balekji, Boston has entered the chat. It's a wrap till we enter it next time. Peace.
Later.